Tonight on To The Point, a fentanyl crisis.
We know our kids aren't coming back, and it's about saving the lives of others.
Lawmakers and parents now want you to decide if and how dealers should be punished. COVID hospitalizations and deaths are up again when the next booster shots are on the way. Plus, EBT cards drained. Millions of dollars have been stolen, and it's costing us, the taxpayers. Good evening. This is To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. Parents and state lawmakers say they've had enough. As teen fentanyl deaths rise, they want the state to do more to punish those responsible. And now they're asking for your help by creating a statewide ballot initiative. Our Roxanne Elias has the story tonight.
Photo after photo show the many faces of lives lost after being poisoned by fentanyl.
This isn't easy, and it's not easy for so many of the parents to come out here and keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing this. But we fight for our children.
One of those photos is of Alexandra, who died after a fentanyl poisoning back in December 2019. State lawmakers failed to pass what's known as Alexandras Law, which would require a judge to warn fentanyl dealers of the increased consequences if they sell a lethal dose. Frustrated, her father, Matt Capilouto, took the first steps in getting this issue in the hands of voters.
We'd like to file this ballot initiative.
Okay. Placer County District Attorney Morgan Geyer drafted the initiative.
They would be advised by the court with a formal advisement that says selling or providing drugs to other people is dangerous and it can kill people. If you do it again, you could be charged with murder. And that's it. That's all it does, is it warns them.
His office is the first in the state to secure a murder conviction for a fentanyl-related death. The initiative would require accountability for drug dealers by sentencing them to 10 to 12 years in prison, and prevention, which is where Alexandra's Law comes in.
It is one more tool in the overall fight in this fentanyl crisis. The real crisis will be solved through education, outreach, and a reduction in the demand, but we also have to increase our enforcement and prosecution on the other end of it as well.
Advocates say Alexandra's Law has been proposed in front of legislators for the last 3 years, but has been rejected. Now with this new initiative, Capilouto hopes this move will put it on the ballot in 2024.
We know our kids aren't coming back, and it's about saving the lives of others. And there's nothing greater that motivates me than that.
Roxanne joining us now. Roxanne, what's next for this group?
Now, they will have to collect several signatures before they can actually put this on the ballot in 2024. Right now, their goal is to collect anywhere from 600 to 650,000 signatures. It's going to take a little bit of months to do that as well. And then the state secretary will then have to review those signatures and go forward with that.
All right, Roxanne, thank you so much. Of course, we'll already be following this. And as the crisis continues, Narcan, also called naloxone, is now available at pharmacies across the country. It's also known as an overdose reversal drug, and it looks a little bit like this right here. Actually, I have a sample right here. So they're recommending that you add this to your first aid home kit. We also did a quick search on the Walgreens website just this afternoon and found that Narcan is available for pickup at a store in Elk Grove, and it will just cost you under $50. And Narcan usually takes about 3 to 5 minutes to work, and the effects last from 30 to 90 minutes. It should be administered as soon as someone shows signs of an opioid overdose, and it is important to call 911 immediately after giving the first dose of naloxone. And we're coming into some breaking news here. A deadly motorcycle crash in Roseville. This is a live view of the scene at Sunrise and Kirby. 2 motorcycles and a car were involved. At least 1 other person was hurt. Of course, we will bring you more information as we get it into our newsroom. In other news, a man accused of sexual assaults dating back to 2010 is now expected to appear in a Sacramento County courtroom. Today, a joint news conference was held following last week's arrest of 35-year-old Kabe Cummings in New York. In both cases in the city of Sacramento, police say the victims were walking home when they were grabbed from behind, strangled, and sexually assaulted. DNA samples were collected, but at the time, there were no matches in the system, and the cases went cold.
I hope that this arrest brings some closure to those victims and makes our community a little safer by taking a predator off the streets.
Cummings was a city employee. Sacramento police don't know if there are any additional victims at this time, but with his picture and information out, they are now asking for additional victims or anyone who knows about the crimes to contact their tip line. Detectives are investigating a deadly stabbing in West Sacramento. This is on Riverbank Boulevard. They found a person injured. They later died, and no word yet on a suspect or motive. A video of students at Delta High in Clarksburg is under investigation. It apparently shows them doing a Nazi salute wearing Hitler-like mustaches. The River Delta Unified School District tells us that they are looking into it. A family is now suing the South Placer Fire District for the wrongful death of their son. Firefighter Trenton Jennings died by suicide in April 2022 at Station 17 in Granite Bay. Jennings was also a Marine, and his family claims that he experienced workplace harassment at the fire district. And we reached out to South Placer Fire District for comment, and we'll have more on this case coming up tonight on Late News Tonight at 11. And across the country tonight, COVID cases are on the rise. The First Lady, Jill Biden, just tested positive for COVID. COVID tests in California are harder to come by, and now there's a new booster shot on the way. First Lady Jill Biden's office describing her COVID-19 symptoms as mild after testing positive for the virus, saying she will remain in the Biden's Delaware summer home as she recovers. The 72-year-old First Lady was last known to have personal contact with the president yesterday, where the couple surveyed damage from Hurricane Idalia before returning to Delaware. The White House saying President Joe Biden, who is not with her, tested negative for COVID, but added the 80-year-old will be watched closely for any symptoms and will receive regular COVID testing.
It's good to be almost home.
The president just attended a Labor Day rally in Philadelphia Monday before his scheduled travel to India for the G20 summit and then to Vietnam. Last summer, the Bidens also tested positive for COVID, with each suffering rebound cases and reporting mild symptoms. The couple was treated with the antiviral medication Paxlovid. Across the country now, reports of COVID cases are rising, with hospitalizations up nearly 20% in recent weeks, but cases remain near historic lows. As millions of students return to school, some educators worry about a COVID surge. In Northern California, COVID tests are getting hard to find.
For the past 2 weeks, we're starting to see more and more people coming into the hospital. We've seen about a doubling of people in the hospital with COVID-19.
A new round of vaccine booster shots is expected later this month, but it's unclear how well it will guard against the new variant detected in at least 5 states. The new variant is an Omicron subvariant. It has raised concerns among scientists due to its number of mutations, but it does not appear to cause any more severe disease. And doctors continue to say those age 65 and older or with compromised immune systems are at higher risk. West Nile virus cases continue to rise across California. The state reports that now there are 75 human cases and 5 deaths across the state. So here are those numbers broken down by local county. Sacramento County now has 10 human cases of West Nile and 1 death. Yolo County has 8 cases and 1 death. And San Joaquin County is tracking 6 human cases of West Nile. Now, West Nile is spread by mosquito bites. It cannot be passed from person to person. The local vector control continues to spray for mosquitoes. So if you are having some issues with some mosquitoes at your home, you can request a visit. We have all of that information up right now on abc10.com/tothepoint. Still ahead on To The Point, rain traps people at Burning Man, yet some are calling it the best burn yet.
Oh, well, it's certainly memorable, right? Temperatures today warming back to near normal, bigger heat returning to the weekend forecast.
Plus, driverless semi-trucks. A California company is already testing them in Texas. What their future could look like here. Tens of thousands of people have been stuck in the desert, yet some are calling it their best burn yet. Burning Man, the annual festival in Nevada, wrapped up last night with a large wooden statue being set on fire. Heavy rain over the weekend trapped people in the mud, and they were told to shelter in place. A 32-year-old man even died, and the cause is under investigation. Some people waited more than 6 hours to get out of the area yesterday.
That it was the most treacherous thing they'd ever experienced. People just crying, begging, stuck in the mud, no way to get any help.
Today's dry and sunny conditions in Nevada are helping thousands make their way out of the desert. And Monica, this was serious. I mean, people were told to ration food, to ration water. Yet a lot of people still say they had one of the best experiences ever.
I know. We had the dry weather yesterday, and then it led to clear skies and very cold conditions last night. So the folks that had to stay there overnight last night into early this morning were still dealing with the weather elements that are the desert. So we've got the clearing skies for today. And again, we've got a nice onshore flow that's keeping us on the mild side. A little bit warmer today than where we were, say, Saturday and Sunday. Yesterday, today, pretty similar with highs in the upper 80s, still slightly below that average of 91 degrees. Now, in terms of those temperatures, as we're heading into this Tuesday evening, we're still in the 80s to near 90, 67 for San Francisco, 70s and 80s throughout the foothills, and close to 70 for the Sierra. Sunset is at 7:30. We'll steadily see those temperatures cool overnight into the 70s and eventually into the 50s. Sunrise tomorrow is at 6:39. Those daylight hours getting shorter and shorter. We're going to see the heat make a modest return for the weekend forecast. Nothing too extreme. It's just going to be slightly warmer than average. A couple of low pressure systems moving in from the coast are keeping that high pressure ridge at bay. That brings the sinking warming air, but it makes a return by our weekend outlook. In the meantime, we've got a couple more days to enjoy these mild conditions. Highs near 70 for the Sierra, 70s and 80s down the hill. Along the coast, we're looking at highs in the 60s, and then we get into the 80s again as we head inland. We're close to 90 for tomorrow afternoon. Nothing too extreme. Morning lows in the 50s to near 60. Persistence is the key here for the 5-day forecast. Will stay in the 70s for the mountains, 80s for the hills, and right around the 60s and lower 70s for the coast. Our 10-day forecast continues to show that warming trend for the weekend outlook. Highs back into the mid-90s by Sunday into Monday.
All right, thanks, Monica. Following new details on Hurricane Idalia that hit Florida last week, private insurance companies could be on the hook for up to $5 billion in damages. The storm slammed into Florida's Big Bend region before racing into Georgia and the Carolinas, and wild flamingos are now popping up in states in the southeast. More than 150 flamingos have been spotted in 8 states. Next, on To the Point, EBT cards drained. Millions of dollars have been stolen, and it's costing us, the taxpayers. Plus, the future of driverless semi-trucks. Welcome back. If you're traveling, there's some good news tonight. United Airlines flights are back on schedule after a brief ground stop. The airline says there was a glitch caused by a software update and crews were unable to contact airline dispatchers through normal means. According to flight tracking website FlightAware, about 8% of United's flights for the day were delayed, but no flights were canceled. There's a money crime on the rise in California. It is hurting families in need and also us taxpayers. So we're talking about EBT theft, and our Rebecca Habegger has been looking into this all day.
Yeah, you know, EBT stands for Electronic Benefits Transfer. It's how low-income Californians enrolled in CalFresh or CalWorks get their monthly stipend. And numbers I got from the state today show more and more thieves are finding ways to steal from people's accounts. One way is through skimming. You've probably heard of that before. It's where someone quickly installs a device on an existing card reader that steals info from the magnetic strip with every swipe. Some thieves will install tiny cameras on ATMs to capture PIN numbers. Others will use phishing. Bottom line, folks should be careful. The state recommends frequently changing your PIN number, especially right before you expect your benefits.
And Becca, I understand we are all paying for this, but how is that?
Yeah, you know, the state requires each county to reimburse someone if their CalFresh or CalWorks benefits were stolen through an electronic mode of theft like skimming. So how big of a problem is this? Well, take a look. From July of 2021 through March of this year, that's the most recent numbers the state provided us, on average, counties are reimbursing a little over 1% of all CalWorks payments and 1/10 of 1% of all CalFresh payments. But when you look month by month, you see the percentage thieves are getting away with going up. In the most recent month, thieves took a record more than 2.5% of all CalWorks benefits and 0.4% of all CalFresh money. Altogether, between the two programs, thieves have stolen more than $86 million in a little under 2 years.
Yeah, and we're talking tomorrow with a woman who had $840 just disappear from her account just a few days ago after seeing an ATM charge in Tracy that she did not make. And we also want to know, Has this happened to you? You can text it to the Point team at 916-321-3310. Again, that number is 916-321-3310. And you can also request to join our text group for previews on stories that we're working on for this week. Today was one of the highest profile sentencings yet related to the deadly January 6th Capitol attack. A federal judge in Washington, D.C. ordered former Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio to serve 33 years in prison. Prosecutors argued it was fitting for the ex-Proud Boys leader, who they consider the ringleader in the attack. Prosecutors say he influenced Proud Boys followers to violently storm the Capitol, even though he did not attend himself. 3 other former Proud Boys members were sentenced last week. They face 15 to 17 years in prison. In the Georgia election interference case, all 19 defendants, including former President Donald Trump, have pleaded not guilty. Former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows pleaded not guilty today, issuing his plea in a court filing. Meadows and others want his case to move to a federal court. At least one trial date for a former Trump attorney has been set for October. At the state capitol, state lawmakers have until September 14th to pass bills and get them over to Governor Newsom's desk. One of the bills that could become law will slow down the progress of driverless semi-trucks. A California company is already testing their fleet in Texas, and we got an inside look.
So you hear that audio, now the truck is engaged.
This is a view of I-20 from inside the cab of one of Kodiak Robotics' autonomous big rigs. Behind the wheel is our safety driver, Rob. Next to him, right seat operator Jeremiah, both a part of Kodiak's development team.
This is the interchange from I-20 to I-45.
At a quick glance, nothing really seems out of the ordinary. But if you look closely, you'll notice Rob isn't actually controlling the steering wheel, nor is he pressing the pedals. Instead, each movement is being controlled by a computer.
Right now, it's driving itself.
Yeah, completely.
Walking me through the test ride
See, we'll get up to 65 miles an hour.
is Kodiak Director of Operations Don Lepper.
And then you'll see it reacting as vehicles are pulling in front, as cut-ins, merges, things like that.
As we drive, a slew of sensors, radars, and cameras mounted around the truck's exterior are collecting information, sending it to the server to make decisions. Safety is the top priority.
It never gets aggressive, it never gets tired, it never gets distracted.
Kodiak's self-driving trucks have been on Texas roadways since 2019. The company is based in California, and they have a hub just outside of Dallas and Lancaster.
We all want our deliveries yesterday, and the fact of the matter is that there just aren't enough drivers to meet that type of demand.
Kodiak CEO Don Burnett says autonomous trucks offer a unique solution to supply chain challenges.
It's artificial intelligence-powered intelligent machines that are able to operate continuously to improve efficiency and lower costs for everyone.
This ride we're on is for developmental purposes, so the computer system can practice different driving scenarios.
This is actually a really complex maneuver.
The Kodiak is already doing commercial routes, delivering things like produce and IKEA furniture. On those rides, there's just one CDL driver on board to supervise the system. The company hopes that by next year, the trucks can operate with no one in the cab.
We have a whole safety use case that is going to prove that before we go driver out, our system is going to be as safe, if not safer, than a human driver.
And that was Janelle Fort reporting in California. If a bill in the state legislature gets its way, driverless trucks won't be driving down highways anytime soon. They will need a human driver present for at least the next couple years. Something new for California drivers, a DMV program is letting people test out digital driver's license. It's meant to deter ID thefts as well as make it easier to get through security. The test program is open to over 1 million Californians. All you have to do is just download the DMV My Wallet app. Next, on To the Point, the drought unearthing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Welcome back. Our past years of drought have uncovered some pretty incredible pieces of history in our lakes and rivers, and now it's Texas's turn. Dinosaur tracks believed to be 110 million years old have been unearthed in a Texas riverbed. This is in Glen Rose, Texas, about an hour and a half outside of Dallas. It hasn't rained nearby since May. Volunteers have unearthed about 400 tracks, and the U.S. Drought Monitor suggests more than 88% of Texas is experiencing either dry or drought-like conditions. And here in California is almost entirely drought-free, thanks in part to Tropical Storm Hillary. Very cool. That's awesome. All right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. If there is something that you think we should be looking into, make sure you reach out to me and the team. You can always send us an email at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can text us at 916-321-3310. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.